car video update. Yeah, guys, hi. It's me, it's Dennis, your coach, sponsor, whatever you want to call it. Just want to see how you guys are doing, and maybe more of a shorter, more personal video. Just an update. I haven't made a video in a little while. Well, probably not that long at all. I understand that. I know that there's several people that are on my team in Quickly, and I know probably other in the other business I'm in, List Infinity as well. And not only that, I know a lot of people are just having a tough time right now. It's either financially, which is always the biggest thing in life, is can never have enough money, and trying to make ends meet. And the loss of a job is a really big life-changing event. And then right after that, what happened to me after losing my job that I was with for 7 years and 8 months in the same industry. It was a cable TV provider. They provided TV services, high-speed internet, and the phone service, the one that goes through the internet, the VoIP or voice over IP as they call it. I put so much into that industry to a point where I feel like I have all this experience that's just going to go down the drain. Maybe this ain't the most positive video right now, because I don't know. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm going through depression right now, and I just can't get out of it. And the biggest, it started out. It started out with the loss of the job. Okay, that's what really changed things for me. I really was I thought I was doing well in the job. I really, at least it seemed like it to me. Everybody was saying I was doing good. I was part of the number one team in the whole company, and the company I work for, they bought out the original company that I started with over almost 8 years ago, and they have customers in several different states, not just only Washington State where I'm at, but there's Oregon, California, in many states. And I just don't have the energy to talk about it, really. I just feel like it's something I haven't got over. And not only that, just after the loss of the job, my mom, who was in hospice care for over 2 years, was a very long time. Usually people in hospice care don't really make it that long. And that's the final destination there. You can't get any more escalated than hospice care. There is nowhere else you can go. It's sad to say that, but you know where you're going after that final spot there, final destination. My mom fought really hard. She kept a lot of the hurt and whatever pain she was going through, and just the daily misery of being in hospice care and in an assisted living facility. I don't know, man. I have so much to talk about when it comes to these assisted living facilities, especially the one that my mom was in. And really nothing good to say about him. I don't have much good. They tried to be extremely nice to me during the end. And it's like they're trying to, I don't know. They're trying to just they tried to make up for a lot of wrongdoings that was happening. And the unfortunate thing is they just couldn't. The amount of things that took place were just were more than I could talk about right now. It will be another video, because I want to discuss and disclose at least what goes on in one assisted living facility. If it goes on in one, it may go on in more than one. Actually, it could be going on in all of them. I mean, we don't know how bad these places really are. But boy, I will cover this in another video. And I might disclose some stuff that nobody's going to want to... Most people may not want to hear about it. And some people are just not going to accept it as being true, what I know about these places. And you're probably going to think twice if you're going to try and put your parents in one of them. You know, once your parents get that age where you can't care for them anymore, and you put them in one of these places, assisted living, and it's a lot to discuss. I just cannot. I can't find the amount of energy that I need to disclose even half of what I know and what I've seen happen, and to my mom and what she went through. And it's just not her. I mean, it is probably everybody that was there, and before she was there. We don't know how long these things happened. But yeah, it was pretty bad. I'm just trying to get out of here. Hold on, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna make this a short video. It's a very, very tough topic to talk about. Something that has to be talked about. I need to address some things because this is one of the things that I've learned in the military. It's one of the biggest things that they taught us. A lot of things I learned in the military, and this is one of the things I learned at one of my regular units that I was stationed with in South Korea. I spent a whole year in South Korea as my first duty station, and overseas as well, my first overseas duty station. But it was right after basic training, after 30 days leave, going back home with my mom. Jumped on a plane straight to South Korea. Took 2 days to get over there. But yeah, there's one of the things that I do recall. This is a very controversial thing to say, but if you think about it, it's very profound. It makes a lot of sense. Our platoon sergeant, he was a former drill sergeant. So when they go through the drill sergeant school, they go through all the training to become a drill instructor / drill sergeant. You know, drill instructors, Marine Corps. They're called drill sergeants in the Army. Okay. They go through some extremely incredible, rigorous training that, you know, most people don't know about or would want to, maybe don't even want to know. Okay, why did that just happen? But yeah, so he played a lot of these psychological warfare games with us that they really, really used a lot during basic training. And so the whole time as a platoon sergeant for our platoon, our unit, that was South Korea postal unit. He used a lot of different tactics and nothing wrong with that, nothing bad. I mean, it worked really well. I mean, he did very well as our platoon sergeant, led by example. He was hardcore, as hardcore can be, like a really soft-spoken guy, like a really, really gentle, soft-spoken guy. But man, he was more strict than you could imagine, and you just never want to get on his bad side. But he said one thing that's extremely profound, and what he did was during a platoon meeting. Okay, I mean, no, there's a different term for it, but you know what? I'm like a loss of words right now. a platoon meeting, okay, where it's mandatory meeting for the whole unit. We go into a giant, like a gymnasium type of thing, right? Or I don't recall where we were, but it was a big building, obviously, and there's all of us. The whole unit was there, and we had in the front of the room there was a dry erase board, right? The ones where you just use the non-permanent marker, then you wipe it off or whatever. Okay, whatever. Okay, so he basically, first thing he wrote, he put a question mark, like a real big question mark that filled up the whole dry erase board. It was a whiteboard. I call it a whiteboard, whatever. But he wrote a big question mark and then walked away. And everybody's wondering, what is this? Okay? And, he never looked that happy, ever. So something was wrong. There's a big question mark. So we're trying to figure out, okay, so it's a question that we're trying to ask, either ask ourselves or ask each other, or something that we should know that we need to ask, and we didn't know what it was. Okay? So apparently something definitely important was going on. Something wrong was going on within the platoon, in our unit. Okay, so he came back and just didn't say a word. He was completely quiet. And he pointed at the board. What is this right here? What does this mean? And I don't remember everything else he said, but everybody was just puzzled. We had no idea. Nobody could give a right answer, right? It was designed for people to give the wrong answer, because there was never going to be a right question. You never think of the right question asked, and there's never a right answer. And then he wrote down the word silence. Okay, and I'm thinking, oh boy, we better not talk or something. Silence means be quiet, right? So nobody talked or anything. And then trying to think, because I may have this backwards. It may have been where he wrote the word silence, and then underneath the word silence, a big question mark. So it could have been that too. But the point is that it was the word silence, and then there's a big question mark on the whiteboard. So we never could figure out what it really meant, okay? So we all gave up, finally. And he said straight up, silence is consent. And if you don't say anything, you witness something that happens, something wrongdoing that took place, something that, that you need to report to your first line supervisor or anybody else in charge, and you don't say anything, you actually consent to the event or crime or violation or whatever it was. You consent for it to happen. Either it happened to you or it happened to somebody else or somebody somebody that reported something and you didn't report it further. You kept it to yourself. You said, you know what? I'm not going to take care of it. Let somebody else take care of it. You don't take authority. You don't take accountability. You don't take charge. Lead by example. You let something go by, and it does more harm than you can imagine, with a domino effect. So he's saying straight up, silence is consent. And he just straight up walked out. That was it, man. He wrote it on the board, silence is consent. And that was it. People were just tripping like, wow, he's playing some hardcore psychological games here, But we got to think about it, discussed it among ourselves, and it made tremendous sense. The more and more we thought about it and talked about it, it makes complete sense. So that's how I practice a lot of things in life. I think about that a lot. Something that stuck with me for my entire life that you just never forget. There's certain things in the military during training and just everything that you just don't ever forget. It stays with you forever. That's one of the things I will never forget. And I feel like it's a duty, a code of conduct, like I swore on my life, on my soul, that if I see something that doesn't look right, needs to be reported to higher a higher power, more needs to go up the chain of command, then it needs to go up the chain of command. You cannot ignore something that you've seen, because it will come back to you. And that's how I feel with the situation with my mom and with the assisted care living facility that she was at. And I can't let it go, can't forget it. It's scarred me for life. The things that she went through, what I witnessed, what she had to go through day by day. It was just more, I get more and more angry as I think about it, and knowing that we can't go back and fix it. Just can't go back in time, knowing what I know now, knowing that I could have done probably more. And not only me, that entire place could have done a lot more. And it did not. Failed. They failed. They didn't do what they were supposed to. And I hear a lot of excuses for practically anything nowadays. Oh, because of COVID, we're short-handed. So that's all right. We're just going to let people sit there on their bed and starve. Not eat for 1 or 2 days, sometimes 3 days in a row, and give them bread that's so old it has mold on it, and food that's super old. It's spoiled food. They're eating spoiled food. Okay? They're paying top dollar per month. We're looking at about $4,000 a month for a little room. Okay? And they have to buy their own bed. You get it? Okay? What's wrong with this picture? There's a lot wrong. So I challenge you guys. I swear. If you guys have any parents, if they're older and they're in assisted living facilities, you need to check on them. And I mean check on them. Don't just think everything's just perfectly fine, because a lot of times nobody's going to talk unless you find out something. I got to go.